Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university. Why put her out there? It looked like when your dad goes with the young woman to help buy a car, you know, when dad comes along. I mean, why? She hadn't done an interview in so long. Or maybe that's the strategy. They look like a married couple. They look like every interracial couple in every commercial.
Maybe that's the. No, but they messed it up because they didn't do the optics right because she looked like she was only 2 feet tall and he was up front looking like Frosty the Snowman. So it kind of failed. But I see what they were going for.
Just protect Plan B. She is Plan B. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Bill Maher is back, taking aim at the so-called woke movement. And this time, his target is Kamala Harris after her latest public blunder. But what did she say that set Maher off? And how did his reaction leave her scrambling to respond? Stick around because this is about to get intense.
Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occurred, Anderson.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our...
The so-called woke movement just can't seem to stop distorting reality. Whether it's the economy, science, education, or immigration, misleading narratives appear to be their go-to tactic.
He was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. You must, I mean, that's certainly true, is it not?
Anderson, the point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol. No, but I got the point that you're making about a 1.5-hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
I mean, can you say that you are not concerned at all having watched the president's performance tonight?
It was a slow start. That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that point. I'm talking about the choice in November.
Kamala Harris isn't just known for twisting the truth. She's perfected the skill of dodging questions altogether. She deflects, sidesteps, and buries any real answer beneath layers of incoherent rambling.
Climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction.
CNN finally hit their limit. They couldn't keep up the illusion any longer. After years of running cover for Kamala Harris, even they had to admit it wasn't working. So
Protect Plan B. She is Plan B. Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Kamala Harris has never truly connected with the people, no matter how many interviews she gives or staged photo ops she attends. she always comes across as unnatural, awkward, and completely out of touch. Her speeches are packed with empty rhetoric. Her laughter feels misplaced, and her rambling responses leave...
Should Kamala Harris run for California governor in 2026 after polls show her leading? I'm going to give that a big no.
She's had her chance several times.
She should run far, far away.
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university.
Bill Maher doesn't pull punches. When he goes in, he goes all the way. With his signature smirk and razor-sharp wit, he delivers brutal truths laced with sarcasm so precise it cuts straight through the noise. And this time, his target was none other than Kamala Harris. He didn't just call her out, he dismantled her. Piece by piece, he tore apart her empty rhetoric, blatant hypocrisy, and complete inability to answer a simple question without spiraling into a chaotic mess of word salad. This wasn't just criticism, it was a masterclass in exposing political fraud.
That we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles. Well, let's start with this. On this subject, the aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And I think that is the most recent example of why what we do to assist in their defense around military aid is important. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks.
Can you seriously envision Kamala Harris as President of the United States? Picture her standing before the United Nations, delivering one of her infamous word salad speeches, rambling in circles while world leaders exchange confused glances, trying to make sense of what they just heard. Now imagine her in a high-stakes negotiation with China, Russia, or Iran, only to respond to tough questions with awkward, misplaced laughter. This wouldn't just be a national embarrassment. It would be a global spectacle. Our allies would cringe, our adversaries would smirk, and America's standing as a world...
Go to a more typical Kamala speech. This is from last week. I know you miss her vacuous word salads. I miss them.
Because then what do we have left? And the way that I see it also is that when we think about like these moments where we see things that are being taken, but also let's see it as a, nature abhors a vacuum. So where there's a vacancy, then let's fill it.
Yes, let's do that, Kamala. Let's do that right after happy hour is finished.
Apparently, Kamala Harris isn't just a master of word salads. She also has a talent for delivering speeches that sound more like a happy hour toast. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? Not always. But let's be real. No one wants a president who comes across as if they've had a few too many before addressing the nation. Now, I'm not saying she was actually drunk, but let's just say it definitely looked that way. The slurred words, the exaggerated hand gestures, the sudden bursts of laughter at absolutely nothing. If you didn't know better, you might think she just walked out of an endless mimosa brunch. And who knows, maybe that's the secret behind her infamous word salads. Maybe her incoherence isn't just a communication issue. It's the lingering effects of one too many rounds of capillaritis. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. But then again, with the woke crowd, nothing is too absurd. If they can convince themselves that men can get pregnant and inflation is somehow a good thing, then believing Kamala's bizarre speeches might be fueled by a little too much Chardonnay doesn't seem all that far-fetched. One thing is clear. Whether it's word salads or wine spritzers, Kamala Harris keeps giving America plenty of reasons to be seriously concerned.
Is replacing the vice president. She's not very popular. Didn't seem to work out. Here's the problem with the Democratic Party. They're so boxed in by identity politics that you cannot conceive of a Democratic ticket that doesn't have a woman, person of color on it, and pretty soon you're going to line up behind that gay Latino, and you're going to have, a deaf Eskimo.
Bill Maher is spot on. The sooner the Democratic Party stops pandering with identity politics and starts addressing the real challenges Americans face, the better off they'll be. People aren't struggling to pay their bills because there aren't enough diversity initiatives. They're struggling because of skyrocketing inflation, disastrous policies, and a government more focused on virtue signaling than real solutions. But do you know what would actually help their political future? Dropping Kamala Harris. She's a liability. Every time she speaks, she either embarrasses herself or highlights the incompetence of this administration. She was supposed to be a historic, groundbreaking vice president, but instead, she's become a national punchline. Even her own party doesn't seem to know what to do with her. And if Democrats think they can quietly push her aside, they're in for a rude awakening. The very woke mob they empowered won't let that happen. So now they're stuck, damned if they keep her and damned if they don't. One thing is clear: if Kamala Harris is the future of the Democratic Party, then that future looks bleak. That's it for today, folks. If you enjoyed this unfiltered take, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more hard-hitting commentary. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.